go.
Let's go.
That's
episode
it.
5.
We're going episode 5
right now. We've been bullshitting for the last 10 minutes.
We have just sipping on our coffee.
Welcome to episode 5 of Ear Swap, the podcast where we swap ears for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And this week we have some special picks.
We do. I just realized this is called Ear Swap, and never has the YouTube audience seen our ears because we got headphones on the whole time.
Whoa.
I'm going to show them my ears.
Whoa. Hold on. Let me expose mine.
Got two of them. They're fairly clean.
I actually have excess earwax production.
Really?
Yeah.
My earwax, this is getting in short stories territory. My earwax is like very orange. Dark orange.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's really gross.
It is gross, man. I figured mine out. I asked my doctor. They were like, it's because you play like loud music that your ears are trying to help itself.
I have done significant damage to my ears at concerts.
Yeah. So I think it's that. I had to go. I thought I had like a sinus infection for 4 months last year. And I was like I was taking like fucking, like, what did they call that? Aspirin or whatever.
Aspirin?
Or not aspirin. Claritin. Like that kind of like allergy medicine. Allergy medicine? Yeah. Whatever that is.
Benadryl?
No, it wouldn't have been Benadryl. I was taking something.
Man,
I was like,
your earlier life was just wild, wasn't it?
Yeah. My last.
You're taking something.
I was taking something. I don't know what it was.
I feel like I'm hunched over. Sorry for the squeaky microphone noises.
No, it's okay.
Through.
Do you need to raise it up over there?
I'm just gonna lift it.
There we go.
A little bit.
But yeah, it was like I'd wake up and my hearing would be gone in my right ear.
Ooh.
So then I would shower, and the hot shower would melt my earwax. Come to find out, and I'd be fine. But I went to the doctor, and they stuck like the warm syringe in my ear and cleaned it out. Dude, not shitting you, like a chunk of earwax came out like this.
That's wild.
And I like got out of the doctor, and I was like, got in my car. I was like, everything's so fucking loud. Like I was like overstimulated.
I should probably do that. I've never done that before.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's so incredible, especially when you wear earbuds and shit all the time. It pushes all that down.
I probably have some big problems with that then.
Yeah, I need to do it again.
Speaking of gross ear stuff, we got our art from Mr. Brad Nugent.
The man himself.
Right up here.
Yes.
Follow him at Brad Nugent on pretty much everything. He's
so good.
Wonderful, wonderful artist. I've got too much of his work, honestly.
He's got a bread wall.
I got a wall of bread.
He's got a wall of bread.
Sweet, sweet guy.
Yeah.
We'll flash some of his art up here. Just
Brad Nugent, everywhere.
Throw it up. Yeah.
Throw up.
Throw up, I'm sure.
Vomit swap.
Vomit. That's for after the show.
That's after the show. Okay. Music.
All right,
that's what we're here
time.
for. So, I recommended Chayne.
Push the Sky Away by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Yep. And then Chayne recommended Me Without You, Pale Horses. Ooh.
We're doing yours first, so don't start talking about this record.
I know
yet.
we're doing mine first, but I feel like these two albums, for some reason, are more cohesive than the last episode.
Dude, of course, last episode. But no, there are a lot of like thematic similarities between the two albums, and I didn't see that coming at all.
Dude, okay.
I got some notes.
All right. Yeah. So Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds pushed the Sky Away. Now, I'm going to tell you why I picked this particular album, okay?
Was it the naked lady on the cover?
No, it was not.
Oh, okay.
I did also, you told me right before, I don't know if we were filming when you said it, but you said you didn't realize there was a naked lady on the cover.
No, I didn't look at the cover at all.
I did not realize that for a long time either. So
okay.
It comes with the territory.
Yes.
But Nick Cave has a massive catalog of varying styles and musical pedigrees, whatever it is. I picked this album just because I think it encompasses like newer Nick Cave stuff really well, but also kind of teeters on like a lot of transitional stuff because he's delved into gospel, ambient, just straight up rock and roll kind of shit. Very, very fascinating man. I was really into Nick Cave like 4 or 5 years ago. Like I have so many fucking Nick Cave CDs up there, and I've seen him live. He's very incredible live. He was in a really rad, disgusting post-punk band called The Birthday Party.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, man. That's some real brutal shit. They're like from Australia, moved to Berlin, Germany, and were just like strung out on drugs and just like total assholes. But then he started Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and I think they're one of my favorite bands of all time. He's one of my favorite artists. I love the way he does lyrics. It's just so cool. He's so poetic. And I picked this album because I think it's his album after Skeleton Tree is probably what got me into it, which that album is even more ambient than this one.
Okay.
It's 8 songs and it's heavy as fuck emotionally. It's probably one of the saddest albums. I almost recommended it to you.
2016. Okay.
Yeah, I almost recommended that to you for the Outside Each Other episode, but we'll have to come back to it at some point. But this album I thought was just an overcompassing kind of like good representation of Nick Cave as he is now, I think, even though it's from a while ago. But one of my favorite songs of all time on here, Higgs Boson Blues, is on this, and Jubilee Street are both amazing songs, and Mermaids. Like, I think overall as an album, it's really cool, and it sounds great. And I'm sure you might know Nick Cave and Warren Ellis from The Road.
The Road soundtrack.
That is correct.
More so the Assassination of Jesse James
right.
by the coward Robert Ford. You have to say the entire title. That's one of my favorite movies, and they both worked on the soundtrack for that, which I had never heard of Ellis Ward before.
Or Warren Ellis?
Warren Ellis. I don't know where I got that name from. I just pulled it out. I don't know. Warren Ellis.
Yeah. So Nick Cave has had a lot of like musical partners in Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Like he had Mick Harvey, he's had Blixa, he's had Warren Ellis, and some of them have like overlapped on when they've been in the band. This was the first album without Mick Harvey, and he was a huge, huge help with Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. And it was his first album with Warren Ellis just collaborating, and they've been collaborators ever since, and they make a lot of really beautiful music, because Warren's like a violin player, and he plays like a little Korg, synthesizer, just a real cheap one. That's what he used on this whole record.
That's cool.
So I love this album so much, and hearing the songs from this album live was just wonderful. So that's my 2 cents on it. I really love this record. It's probably my top 3 Nick Cave albums. I wouldn't say it's my favorite.
Okay.
But I picked it because I figured as like a first-time listener. This is probably the first album I listened to. I was like, whoa, this is like kind of make you think a little bit more music to me when I was listening to it. He's got a massive catalog, so I mean, you could go.
He had a
ton
of
records.
Yeah,
and so yeah, and not my favorite Nick Cave record, but it's one of my top 3 for sure. Yeah, I just thought it'd be a good one for you. I felt it was appropriate for some reason. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but let's hear if it's right or wrong.
Right. I
was right.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So what are your thoughts on this album?
So my first, like, as soon as it started playing. Maybe it's just because I know him from soundtracks, but it was just cinematic. Everything felt really big and cinematic to me. It seems like it would fit really well in like a good film, like a good film with a sad ending. Yeah. I kind of didn't really know what to expect. Like I said, I knew Red Right Hand. That's about it. Also, while we were talking about Assassination of Jesse James, he's in that movie.
Right.
He plays a song, but
yeah.
Go watch that movie. Nobody appreciates that movie.
Here, I'll put up the thing right here.
The thing. Yes.
There it is. Okay, it's gone.
So yeah, I thought it was very cinematic. Let me get a song list pulled up. Actually, I already have it pulled up. We Know Who You Are.
Great.
Immediately, just like pops in and starts going. Wide Lovely Eyes does that like palm muty thing.
Yeah.
And it seems like it shouldn't work, but then it works, and it's great. Yeah. It like seems like it doesn't make sense, but then as the song progresses and it builds a little more, it like fits everything. All the pieces fit together.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool.
He's really good at composing shit like that. Where you're like, what is this? Or like making one thing and building so much off of one thing.
Yes, I think my favorite was probably Higgs Boson
Blues.
Higgs Boson Blues.
Yeah, that one has great lyrics. Hannah Montana. Yeah, his lyrics are weird. Some of them are hilarious. Oh, yeah, he's funny.
They are goofy. The shaking their asses in Water's Edge.
Yeah.
I laughed every single time I heard that.
Yeah.
They
were all shaking their asses.
And I don't think it's supposed to be a joke. Like, I think he was doing it earnestly.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know with Nick Cave
Dude.
what he's doing.
That crazy Australian.
Oh yeah.
But that shaking their asses. He's so out of place. It's very funny.
That's what I think is hilarious, is because this music's like really, like you said, it's cinematic. It's this like really big thing, and then sometimes his lyrics, you're just like, "What the fuck was that?" But I think it's
the match that would fire up her snatch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which song was? I don't even remember what song.
The match that would fire her up.
I think it's We Real Cool. We Real Cool.
That sounds right.
Nope. No.
Here, I have his lyric book right there. We could go through it.
I mean, I can.
It's from Mermaids.
Mermaids. Yeah.
I was fired from.
Oh yeah, that's from the very beginning.
Now I sit around and watch.
Yes.
I love Mermaids. It's a really good one.
The Mermaids. Yep.
But I'd say Jubilee Street's like that's considered a Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds classic.
I like Jubilee Street. I also like finishing Jubilee Street.
Yeah, that's such a like meta song because the song's about him finishing the song. Yeah.
Apparently, after he wrote Jubilee Street, which in the album in the song, it's about like a prostitute in a neighborhood run by like the Russian mob and stuff like that. And he just kind of assumed that's what Jubilee Street was like, and then he actually went there, and he was just like, "Oh, you can get like sushi and go to the library here." So I can't remember exactly where. Yeah, it's an interview with The Sun. God. He says if people think they're going to have a good time down Jubilee Street, I'd say forget about it unless they're particularly interested in going to the library or Yo Sushi. He was apparently thinking of a different street, and then he got there and he was just like, "Oh no, this is fucking Jubilee Street."
He's like, "Oh shit, the other one's a block over."
Yeah.
I didn't know.
So apparently Jubilee Street is a very nice place. It's a very normal place.
And he's talking all this shit.
Yeah.
Throwing a diss track on there.
Is he talking shit? That one had some really weird themes in it. That's where I found a picture. Because I was on Genius, because that's a good resource when finding out what songs are about. Mm-hmm. And he has all the stuff like the fetus on a leash, and I got love in my tummy and a tiny little pain.
Yeah.
And check
10-ton catastrophe
this out.
and a 50-pound chain.
Yeah.
I love that lyric.
This is the picture.
Whoa.
It's a pregnant dude. We'll put that up on the screen. But it's interesting. He puts like his search for like spirituality is always going towards like women and sexuality at the same time. In a lot of his songs, especially like Mermaids, and then what was the name of that song? The Water's Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a really interesting take on spirituality because a lot of his music, like his record Arbitrois Blues, The Lyra Orpheus, it's a double record. It's the one I was talking about. It's like very gospel sounding.
Okay.
His idea of spirituality I always found really fascinating because he talks about like God and like, I don't know quite what it means to him yet.
Yeah.
And he might not even know.
I don't think he knows what it means.
But I think that's cool. I think it's something cool that he explores.
Even the title of the album, Push the Sky Away, I think is like almost him like resisting spirituality and like God, but then like not being able to.
Right.
So.
Right. And he's just a really wild human being to me. Like he's been through a lot of shit.
I don't know like anything about him.
He's had 2 of his sons die.
Damn.
So right after this record, his son was 16 and died. I think it was right before he recorded Skeleton Tree. That's why Skeleton Tree seems like an incredibly heavy record. It's because his son died on a bad mushroom trip and fell off a cliff. Is what happened.
Wow.
And then his oldest son actually just died this year. And he was like schizophrenic and had committed suicide. So this dude's had a lot of shit go down in his life, and he somehow still manages to play and do music and stuff. I've never met the guy, but I can't imagine, But this record, I think, is just one of his best. It's 9 songs. It's like you don't need any more than that. I feel like it's a really well paced record. To be honest, even though it's like a slower pace, it seems like it's actually genuinely like the length it needs to be.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it drug at all. It just some of the songs like flowed together really nicely in
Yeah.
ways that I didn't even realize there was really a transition.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I
it's
think
a good one.
when I seen him live, he played Push the Sky Away live, that song, and
Okay.
Jubilee Street, and Higgs Boson Blues. He did those 3. But he did Push the Sky Away, and he ended his set with Push the Sky Away. And his live performances are incredible because he brings the audience on stage.
Really?
Like he'll just grab people and just bring them up on stage. Like he's very in your face. Like he spit on me because I was like, like he was singing and he just like got spit on me, and he walks through the audience and he just has I've never heard a place go absolutely dead silent, and it was a full theater. He had that audience by the just everything. Everybody's attention was on him. Like it was one of the most incredible
very
things.
Cool. So probably a smaller scale, but that's similar to Aaron Weiss in Me Without You.
Oh yeah.
He's very soft spoken,
Mm-hmm.
and like he'll be jumping around screaming on stage, and then in between songs he's like, "Oh, thanks everybody for coming out and hanging out." So he talks very calmly and just very gentle, but like you don't really, as long as people are paying attention to the show, which doesn't always happen,
Right.
depending on who they're playing with normally, but like there's like a captivation from like his performance and just like his presence on stage.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I've only seen a handful of artists. Like Nora Jones did that, and Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds did that for me. That was where I heard places actually go quiet in between songs,
For oddly local band or local artist shout out, Aaron Lee Martin. Did you ever see him play live?
Whoa, I played a show with him when I was like 16.
Really?
Yeah.
That dude, I've seen him just make an entire room cry.
Wow.
It's nuts. Like that dude had that same ability to just like control it.
Wow, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, I think he moved to Texas.
Yeah, I played at Mead's Corner with him.
Oh, nice.
Rest in peace.
To Mead's, not to Aaron.
To Mead's. Yeah, to Mead's. Well, this record, most people give it a B. If you were to rank it,
I don't want to give it a normal sounding rank. We got to come up with something good.
Let's come up with something good. Okay, let's do light roast coffee, medium roast coffee, and dark roast coffee.
So I'm a light roast guy.
Okay, so that'll be your number
probably
one.
Better.
I mean, we can do in between. We can do.
I hate this actually because
Okay,
those are all
coffee.
like dumb terms. Like
Those are dumb terms. Let's do.
It doesn't really tell you anything about the quality of the coffee. I have issues with the terminology within coffee, so let's not do that. This is a Full City Plus. I would call this one a Vienna Roast album. No, we're not doing that.
Album. I like that.
I don't know. I feel like I had more stuff to say about this before we wanted to do that. Oh, there's also a lyric, Wikipedia is heaven, in this album. I wrote that one down. That one is on, I think it's on Higgs Boson Blues.
Is it? Here, can you hand me that Nick Cave lyric book? It's right there by the road, actually. I did not mean to do that.
There we go.
Okay, so this book I got somewhere. This has all of his lyrics from like the birthday party actually up to Push the Sky Away. So,
Okay.
So if we go up, I think it even has like some B-sides and stuff. But I've actually used this book when I've like went to write lyrics is to like take inspiration from it a lot because I like how, like I said earlier, like I like how he writes.
We real cool.
We real cool.
We real cool.
And he just... Yeah.
I feel like my white tongue can't say that correctly. But that was a really cool song. Yeah, he puts so many like biblical references in his songs.
Mm-hmm.
There's just the start of that. Who took your measurements from your toes to the top of your head? Yeah, you know.
Yeah, you know.
But all that is just like that. I think it's in Isaiah.
Oh.
It's just... And then it starts getting into the Sirius is 8.6 light years away. Arcturus is 37. The past is the past and it's here to stay. Wikipedia is heaven.
Wow.
Yeah. I loved the themes in this record. They were just... Let's talk about Higgs Boson Blues. And I'm going to compare it to a song on this album. So we haven't talked about that yet.
Interesting.
But
okay.
I think Higgs Boson Blues, which is track 8 on Push the Sky Away, is very similar to Magic Lantern Days, which is also track 8 on the Pale Horses. I think they have really similar themes. So let me pull up the lyrics to both of those. So obviously, Higgs Boson Blues mentions Geneva going to the Higgs Boson Large Hadron Collider, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of about like where the world is going. We've as humans, we've created these massive, like, powerful things.
Mm-hmm.
That what does that mean for like humanity to come? And that's kind of the same theme on both of them. Like, because this one is "Hail the blessed atomic morn, unto the earth a bomb is born" is the first line of Magic Lantern Days.
Yeah.
It's about a lot of their stuff on Pale Horses is about. Man, I'm not as well spoken as these two gentlemen are, but it's about the modern world that we live in. I mean, Me Without You takes it from like a post-nuclear world and kind of what that looks like.
Yeah.
And I've heard Dan Carlin of Hardcore History, the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Have you listen to him at all?
Yeah.
It's great stuff. Very good stuff. But he talks about the advent of nuclear weaponry just being a sword of Damocles hanging above like humanity's head forever. And like people like me and you, we've been born on that. Pretty much everybody listening. We've had that threat over our heads our entire lives.
Yeah.
We just don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. But I thought those songs, they mirror each other in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. You found that connection. Especially, both songs mention Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus. Exactly. I don't know. I remember hearing an interview with him where he was like, somebody was like, "Why did you fucking talk about Hannah Montana?" He's like, "I don't know. It felt right."
I think
Hannah Montana does the African savanna as the simulated rainy season begins.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, "Miley Cyrus floats in a swimming pool in Toluca Lake, and you're the best girl I ever had." Interesting.
Magic Lantern Days talks about android whales.
Oh, got some water themes. Water's Edge.
Water's Edge. Quotes some Bukowski in that as well.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to talk too much about Pale Horses before we get to it, but
that's right.
That one. Also, the songs before that one, each of those, we got Finishing Jubilee Street and Lilac Queen. Both mention shipwrecks. Did you catch that?
Man, you really went deep dive in the lyrics.
Yeah,
of these records.
Well, I knew it was. I already knew there was one mentioned in Pale Horses. So Nick Cave talks about in that song. He says, "And when I woke, I believed I'd taken a bride called Mary Stanford, which is a lifeboat that sunk with all hands in 1928."
Wow.
Near up the coast from Cave's hometown of Brighton. And then in the Me Without You song, they talk about iceboat wrecks kept us warm. And that has to do with iceboat number 3. It was a what was it called? It was an icebreaker ship. And then it was commissioned for the use during the Spanish-American War. And then it sank near Philadelphia.
Oh.
Or it's from Philadelphia, but it sank in 1905. So, and that's where Me Without You is from. So
yeah, Philadelphia. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going off on some weird tangents about ships, but that's wild, where I started going with this.
That's wild.
Sorry about that for everybody.
No, there's all those
real stuff.
Those crazy connections. I even thought on a musical level, the way it was paced, I thought felt similar. Which
kind of, yeah.
Personally, like the way I felt listening to this record was. Before we get in it, well, I felt...
I feel like there's enough crossover. We're kind of going to have to go back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like there was a lot of good crossover on it. I don't know if you have anything more to say on Nick Cave, but...
It'll come up. I don't know. Let's just keep going.
Let's keep going. We can just go into Me Without You if you reckon.
Oh, The only thing, finishing Jubilee Street.
Yes.
Like the where like the chorus comes in, like the choral sound of like everybody singing, and there's like it's kind of upbeat. You might say that sounds like a Sufjan Stevens song, kind of. Do you ever listen to Sufjan Stevens?
Never did. No.
Okay, that's going to be something coming up later on.
Okay.
But I wrote down that in my notes. I was like, this reminds me, just like maybe not tonally, but like just in. There's some kind of characteristic that just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to talk about the spinning organ sound on Push the Sky Away.
Oh, yeah.
It just sounds like it's looping around you while it's playing, and it almost makes you nauseous, but it's like really, really cool. It's this really like interesting movement through the song.
I bet they
sonically used.
I wonder if they use like a Leslie speaker or something, which is like do you know what a Leslie speaker is?
Is that like a Wurlitzer type thing?
It's like a organ speaker that's this massive cabinet, and they rotate. They're a fan basically, but the speaker's right here, and it rotates, and that's what causes that rotating Leslie speaker sound.
Okay.
A good example that's what you get with that warbly thing is Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. That lead line, they used a real Leslie speaker in the studio. But for that like crazy thing, you can pan it left and right on the recording, which causes that like sort of left and right stereo thing, which you can run Leslie stereo.
I've seen those in videos and stuff. But
Like massive cabinets.
Yeah, that's really cool. So
yeah, so that is cool. This was also the last album that their keyboard player Conway Savage played on, which he had been in the band for a long time, and he died in between this album and Skeleton Tree, and he was a wonderful, wonderful player. So this album was very transitional, I feel like, for them, because Mick Harvey wasn't on it, and then this was the last one Conway was on. So really good, great live band. If you get a chance to see Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds live, like
they're definitely on my radar now. They weren't necessarily before, but
and they're like I said, their catalog's so fucking massive that it's like there's eras of them that I'm like, oh, if I'm in this particular mood, I'll go to like Tender Prey or Your Funeral, My Trial, which is like the 80s shit in there. I mean, they're very much in the post-punk no-wave scene. Okay. You know, they're kind of, a lot of people like Nick Cave, they like, you know, the Cramps, or they like, you know, some of that, like even Joy Division kind of ends up being thrown into the same thing, especially with their 80s stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't have like necessarily related the two with this album, with like those two.
This album, things. Not at all.
Very different.
And even his 90s stuff is not my favorite because it's almost too narrative-like. Because so we talked about on the first episode the Murder Ballads album, 33 1/3.
Yeah.
That album is so narrative. It's a lot of people's favorite Nick Cave album. Is probably my least favorite. Okay. Because there's too much narrative going on. But he has one of his best songs there, which is Staggeredly, which is about Staggeredly, and it's brutal.
I mean, this album had some of the narrative stuff going on with it. The one about Robert Johnson, which
that's Higgs Boson Blues.
Higgs Boson Blues. Yeah. That one, like it like jumps into it and jumps out. Like it doesn't stick through the whole thing. But.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of his thing. But like he really went on some shit there for a little bit that it was hard for me to like enjoy it. I guess on Murder Ballads, which is probably, I don't know if it's an unpopular Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds opinion, but I know it wasn't my bag on that record.
Sounds like I'd enjoy it, honestly.
You might. It's the whole album's about murder stories. Like he tells murder stories the whole.
I love murder.
Yeah,
yeah, it's my favorite.
I love murder. No, and it's cool. I mean, that's why it's called Murder Ballads. So he made all these ballad songs, and he had like PJ Harvey and on there on one song, and he also had Kylie Minogue. You know her?
I know who that is.
John, she had that really popular song in the, I think it was late 90s, but which was totally like uncalled for because she is like a pop singer. Like nobody, she's got this song.
This sounds familiar. Oh, okay.
Can't Get You Out of My Head.
Yeah.
That's Kylie Minogue.
Oh, that's very strange.
Yeah, so he had her on a song called Where the Wild Roses Grow.
Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah, Where the Wild Things Are.
La 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 la.
The song rips, so.
La 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 la. Yeah.
Right, so you have like that, and
that's gonna sound horrible with me singing, and they can't hear the music. I just realized that.
I'm gonna really turn it up.
I'm sorry.
So this is the song he did with her for Murder Ballads.
Okay.
Called Where the Wild Roses Grow.
Well, also, like, the Murder Ballad is, like, traditional type of song.
Yeah.
Especially in America. Like,
so he's really fascinated with Western culture. So
Okay.
a lot of his songs have this really big Western theme to them.
okay.
So he made this song, and him and Kylie Minogue do this thing where he's basically murdering her in the song. Is the thing.
Heck yeah.
So it's super cool. I love
That
this
sounds
song.
so much different.
Yeah.
He wrote the movie The Proposition in 2005.
Yes.
Have you seen that one?
I've not seen it, but I knew he wrote it.
Okay, yeah, that's a Western. I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Or it's directed by John Hillcoat, which that guy did some things he did The Road.
Oh yeah. He also Nick Cave was writing the screenplay for the Crow reboot there for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, and I think he dipped out of it.
I've actually never seen The Crow.
Oh, what?
I know. Isn't that weird?
We gotta watch that.
We do need to
I
watch.
swap.
I swap. Let's get one podcast going first.
I swap.
I swap would be cool though.
It would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Only. only.
Yes, Patreon only.
idea.
I swap.
Patreon only. Only
All
fans
right.
only.
Well, I'm sure this album is going to come up in further discussion.
reckon
but
it
let's
will.
go ahead and start in on the Me Without You record.
Okay, Pale Horses. We have the actual vinyl edition. This is a special one.
This is a special one. Yep, it's the Rainbow Splatter.
Yes. And I did listen to it on vinyl, too.
Did you listen to the other?
I didn't get a chance to listen to it.
That's fine, because I don't
'Cause it's
really
like
have
bonus.
time to talk about that.
Yeah, that's
I
like
don't think.
bonus stuff. And
Most of them were just like, there's some like B-side stuff, but then there's also just alternate like versions of songs, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's a really good version of Magic Lantern Days on that.
Oh, okay.
Or not Magic Lantern Days. That's the one I was talking about earlier, of Mexican War Streets.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes,
I have a
yes.
question for you before going into this.
Yes.
What do you think is my favorite song on this album?
On this album, ooh, I think your favorite song, I'm going to say Rainbow Signs.
Okay.
Am I right?
Top three, but not
Top
my
three.
favorite.
Let me take another crack at
I'll give you
this.
2 more cracks at it.
Blue Hen.
Yes.
That's it?
That is my favorite song on this album. That song immediately.
That song rips.
got me.
That song's so good.
I love that fucking song. It gave me goosebumps first time I heard it.
Nice.
Genuinely. I love
Very
it.
good. I'm glad you're getting into Me Without You. That makes
You're
me
like,
so
it's about
happy.
fucking time, dude. So why did you pick this album? I know you had asked some fans what album to do.
So shout out to the Foxes in the Vineyard Facebook group. Hope some of you guys came over for this. Really awesome, just fan group that's people actually respond to things on, and it was really cool. I don't know what the final count of votes were, but it was like over 200 something. Where I was just like, "Hey, I'm doing this podcast. Which album would you recommend for it?" And everybody picked not this album. So the vast majority were for Catch Us the Foxes, which I kind of expected. That's their second full length, and it's a very good album, but it's also one of their more popular ones. It's got some like iconic. I don't know if you think about artists this way, but like Me Without You is finished now, so I can look at them and be like, this is where they were the most Me Without You at this point. Like, that's where they were the most distinct. That's the sound people remember.
Yeah.
And I'd say that's somewhere between Catch Us the Foxes and Brother Sister. Okay. Like, that's the sound that they're known for.
Yeah.
But you had already listened to Brother Sister, which is, in some ways, like, sound-wise, just a slightly more mature version of Catch Us the Foxes in some ways. So I didn't want to I don't want to say take a step back, because I love both. I love all their albums, so it's very hard for me to like disparage any of them. But I wanted to show you something a little farther on in their career, and where they kind of more of a mature sound. I think the lyric writing in their stuff has always been amazing, but I feel like this one really captures all of it together, and it's more cohesive than some of the other ones too. But it was also the second most voted one on that poll that I did.
Oh, really? Okay.
So but it was like 16% and then 15% for the next one. I think was Untitled, which is their final album.
Oh,
so this is their next to last album.
Yeah, this one came out in 2015. The last album came out in 2018.
Yeah. So what did you like about Blue Hen?
The guitar part at the beginning. At first, I was like, okay, this is kind of like tappy, but then I love the lyrics. The vocals is what got me on that one.
Yeah.
Really hit me. I mean, the whole album. I mean, first listen, I listened to it probably 6 or 7 times. I listened to it a pretty good amount. This is probably the album I've listened to the most so far. Like probably this and Page of the Lion have been the two that have been like really. This one I listened to on vinyl, and I listened to it in my car a bunch of times too.
Okay.
And like it sparked my interest so much that I went and also watched their audio tree that they did, which is fucking fantastic.
That's so good.
And I got to see like visually how they do this, and I was like, God, like this band is really good.
I wish you would have gone to see him live.
Dude, you know, I thought that. I was like, didn't you just see him in Lawrence in May?
I saw him on their final tour.
And I'm like, dude, I fucked up.
Yeah, I was trying to get you to go with us.
I know, and I was like, oh, whatever, I don't really care. And now I'm like, fuck, man. But I watched that audio tree because I was curious. My main thing was the guitar playing. I was like, I wonder how this works. Because it sounded like 3 guitar players to me, which apparently it is 3 sometimes, but most of the time it's 2. Most of the time it's 2, yeah. Most of the time it's 2. And I watched that, and the drummer's fantastic.
Dude, Ricky, he's been in the band since the beginning too. It's a lot of longevity in this band. It's Aaron and Michael Weiss, which are brothers, and that's the lead singer and the guitar player.
Right.
And then there's Ricky, who's the drummer, and they've all been in the band the entire time.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. But yeah, Ricky is an amazing drummer.
Great
I love seeing that guy, especially when you see him live. Just radiates energy. It's so cool.
The drumming, the instrumentation, the guitar playing is amazing. The bass playing is really good. Like the whole album, everybody is really, really shining in their instruments, and it feels like that for every single song. Genuinely. Yeah. And this is the first album I've listened to, and like I've listened to Brother Sister, and you showed me that like a year ago. I was like, oh, what's this thing?
For sure.
And I want to go back and listen to that one after listening to this, because I think this one was more of my flavor.
Okay.
To be honest. I liked how the album starts. I liked how they organized everything. My favorite run of songs, like what I thought was really cool was how, like, I really liked Red Cow, Dorothy, and Blue Hen together. Because Dorothy's like a short thing. Yeah. And like I like how like the color visual too of like red to blue. And you have Dorothy in the middle. I don't know. I thought that was like a cool thing. It was something I picked up and I was like, those 3 together feel like really good songs to be put together.
And Dorothy's like one of those, like, it's kind of a transition song, but it's not like one you'd want to skip. It's like, it's a full song, but it's only, let me see how long that is.
It's a minute 40.
Minute 40, whereas the other ones are about 4 minutes. 4 minutes and 3 minutes on either side of it. So it seems like it's just... And it flows directly from Red Cow into Dorothy. Like there's no train.
Yeah, the clips start at the end of Red Cow, and then it goes into, and then Blue Hen's just so fucking good, dude.
The music video is Red Cow and Dorothy together.
Oh, cool.
They put them both together, and that is directed by Daniel Davidson from that Norma Jean album from last week.
Oh,
so he directed the music video for that. It's excellent. We should watch that when we wrap up here.
Okay.
But
yeah, I was really, really interested in the guitar playing. I watched the rig rundown for Me Without You.
Yeah, that's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've never watched a rig rundown except for that one.
Yeah, so. I've watched a bunch of those for whoever.
Of course you did.
Yeah, I've watched like Josh Klinghoffer or Chili Peppers, and people just have crazy rigs and stuff. But I went and I was like, man, this is like, they have some cool stuff. Like there's sounds I was familiar with, but I was like, that's really cool. I wonder how they kind of do it, and I wanted to know more about their shit, and I really love the guitar tones on this record. I was like, they are so fucking good. They have that like mid-low range thing. Yeah. And the chords are really good. Like when you think it's going to go a certain way, they just change it a little bit.
Change it slightly.
Yeah. And it just really piqued my interest. Rainbow Signs. Perfect album closer. It's so good.
For sure. It's also the way that starts with the way Pale Horses starts at the beginning.
Oh,
Did you notice that? Have you played those two back to back?
I haven't.
Play the first few seconds of Pale Horses and then play the first few seconds of Rainbow Signs.
Okay.
It's the same.
I never knew.
Spoiler.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah, I thought
it's even the same.
Is it like
it's not necessarily the same lyrics. Let me compare those two.
It's kind of a callback. It feels like a callback. Okay.
Yeah. So the themes in this album, a lot of them it's very like apocalyptic. Obviously, it's called Pale Horses,
right?
Which, Pale Horse in Revelations. Are you familiar with Revelations?
I'm not.
Okay. You've heard of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse and all that stuff. That's where that comes from. It's from Revelations. So there's all the horses, and the last one is the pale horse, and the one that sat upon him is death.
Oh.
So, and that's also where like the nuclear war and stuff comes into it, and it's kind of yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. What were you playing there? Did you play the beginning of each one?
I played Rainbow Signs. That's the ending.
Oh, I meant the beginning of each song.
Because the chords.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Pale horse.
Yeah. But even the lyrics, pale horse songs of a slow decline, sideshow words if the songs don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rainbow Signs.
And it's the same. Yeah.
It's like a reprise.
It's a reprise. It's not exactly the same, and then they move. Yeah, God gave Noah the rainbow sign. No more waters. The H-bomb next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, and now we're listening to music and nobody can hear it.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was thinking about that.
We need to stop. Should we just put the songs in?
I don't know.
If you're a lawyer, hit us up, because we don't know if we can do that or not. I'm assuming YouTube will take it down if we do that like immediately.
Well, I feel like if it's copyright, as long as I think the deal is that you just can't monetize. But I'm not sure because I've done videos with songs that I.
Yeah. Well, that would be you couldn't monetize the YouTube. It doesn't mean you couldn't monetize the whole show, right?
That's why you see, I think, podcasters put in actual advertisements edited into their videos instead of like little promoted sponsored by stuff. They'll do that. They'll just pay a lump sum. I don't know.
It's confusing.
We're figuring this out.
We don't know what we're doing.
We'll figure it out. Talk to us at episode 50.
Or don't, because we probably won't know what's going on then either.
That'd be like a year from now. Okay. Yeah. Also, fucking Watermelon Ascot is great.
Watermelon Ascot's so good.
I love that song.
Lilac Queen. This listen to.
Oh, really good song
I really got into Lilac Queen this time. That's the song that says I was the ISIS flag design.
Yeah, I like that lyric.
Yeah, and there's like a whole interview he did where he talks about that, which is like super interesting. Like a lot of people consider Me Without You a Christian band.
Really?
That's because they were on Solid State Records for a long time.
Oh, that's right.
And in some ways they kind of are, but it's like way more than that. It's interesting. So the Weiss brothers were born into a Sufi Muslim home with a Judaic what's the term? They were I think they have an ethnic Jewish background.
Okay.
And then they became Christians, I think, when they were teenagers. So there's all these different influences, which you can see come out in all of their music. Have you ever read anything by the poet Rumi?
No.
Okay, so he was a Sufi poet, which Sufi is I might be wrong on this. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's kind of like a form of mysticism within Islam, which isn't accepted by a lot of forms of Islam. But some of the most just gorgeous poems I've ever read in my life.
Yeah.
And they take a lot of influence from him.
Wow.
There's a lot of stuff from Tolstoy, and I'm sorry, I keep burping.
It's that coffee. It's carbonated.
Yeah. It's the pad thai I had earlier.
Oh. Did you go to where I think you went?
Yes, I did. Thai tradition.
That's right. I had curry today.
Nice. Yeah, you told me you were getting curry. We should get back into that.
All right, sorry.
So yeah, if you look at the lyric book in here, did you look at that at all?
No.
Okay.
I didn't. I didn't get a chance to.
Okay. They have little footnotes of things that have influenced the lyrics next to
Wow.
And a lot of them say SH. This one says SH49B, and that stands for Sacred Harp number 49B. which Sacred Harp is a. Let me look it up so I don't mess this up.
Okay.
It's a movement, like a Christian movement based upon, or it's like a singing tradition of sacred choral music. It originated in New England and was later carried to like the South. So you've probably heard it used in music before, but it's just vocal like.
Oh, it's like.
You should type in Sacred Harp, go to the YouTube or Wikipedia page, and just like click the little button so we can both hear it. But it's definitely been used and stuff. But they used a lot of these songs and introduced the lyrics into their stuff, or tweaked them. I think I'm sorry, we're just listening to music again.
I'll link.
Yeah, you should
stuff.
sing this along with it. Allah. La 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 blah 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 la 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 blah 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 blah.
They even have the notes on here.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. It was used in the movie Cold Mountain and the movie Lady Killers.
It's sounds cool.
Yeah, it is cool. But like they took a lot of these old like songs from like, when did it start? The 1700s, 1770s?
1770 to 1820.
Yeah, so they took these songs that are like, there's places that still practice this and still sing it.
Yeah.
And they've adapted them into their own thing, kind of, which is,
wow,
I think is cool.
That's really neat.
Mm-hmm. And then there's other ones that's like, oh, this is a Bukowski quote. And
I've never read Bukowski.
I haven't either.
I've met people who are like really into him.
Yeah.
But wasn't he kind of wasn't he a wild guy?
Aren't they all?
Yeah. Authors, musicians.
Yeah.
They're all wild.
I don't know. He's a nice
Coffee
guy.
roasters.
Coffee roasters.
Those guys are wild.
Those guys are boring. Honestly. Yeah, he probably had some controversy. All right, what else did you think about this album?
You know, the one thing I've noticed about all of your album recommendations so far is they have a lot of guitar playing. It's very guitar-heavy music.
I like the guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured so. I was like, that has been the common thing that I think I've commented on every album that you've said, that the guitar playing is really good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not by any means a good guitar player, but I dabble a little bit. So that's definitely the way that I approach music, is like when I'm listening to it, is like that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Me Without You is one of the few artists where I focus, like I just zoom right in on the lyrics too, and I try to like understand those. And it's because it's always interesting to me. Like they're always saying something that's, I think, worth saying in a lot of ways. I had somebody when I was I had listened to Me Without You because obviously I grew up in that like music scene kind of. But when I started getting into them, I was talking to this dude in Canada named Tony, and we found out we both liked Me Without You when we were talking about him. He was like, I love their stuff because I can listen to it, focus on a completely different part of the song, and still find new things in the song that I've heard 100 times. Like he's like, you always find different aspects to the songs in their work, and I think that's true.
Yeah, there's a ton of good layers on their music and the way that they write. I don't know how they write. I don't know if they just figured it out in a room or what, but it's really cool. I like how they work on the guitar parts. They complement each other. It feels like they do the right thing when it comes to being a dual guitar band, of like either one of them doesn't mind sitting back and taking the back seat and just doing some chords, while somebody else just does little stuff. And I don't know, there's definitely a good dynamic in this band. And you can hear that in their songs. It's a shame that they're breaking up for whatever reason, but they're probably just tired of it.
Like, I know Aaron's teaching at a university now.
Can you imagine? He's just
some of the other
teacher.
guys have other problems. Yeah, it's nuts. But just when I listen to Me Without You and I think about them, just everything just fits together just right. The album artwork, they always work with the same artist. His name is Vasily Kafanov, who is a Russian-born painter.
Wow.
And like like he's got vastly different stuff. If you look at their different albums covers, maybe throw some of those on screen. But
boom, boom,
yeah.
boom, boom.
But they work with him all the time, and I think he did all of their full length album covers actually.
Wow.
And they look a lot different, but it just fits. I don't know why, but this picture sounds, or it looks like the album sounds to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and the other thing I liked about this record is the vocalist uses 2 microphones, one for like the filtery whatever, and then kind of the normal one,
which is cool when he does that on stage. Like that's how they play live. Yeah,
which is
awesome.
super cool. I like that they even hold up to that live too, because his voice. It seems like this is also a theme. Took me a minute to get into.
Yeah, that's there was a rumor going on in like the mid 2000s when they were first starting to get going. Everybody was like, "Oh yeah, that band Me Without You, their vocalist has Asperger's," and I don't think I even knew what that was when I heard that. And I was like,
gosh.
"Oh, that's weird," and I don't think that's true. I think people just said that.
People just say shit. 'Cause
Yeah,
the vocal style is
it's different.
It's very different.
Very. Some people call it like talk rock. I don't really like that. There's some spoken word influence in there.
It says art rock on the Wikipedia
Art rock.
page. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Fart rock.
Fart rock. It also says they're emo, which is maybe, I don't know. Maybe early stuff.
Yeah, I think maybe they've inspired a lot of emo bands, maybe.
Definitely.
I've heard a lot of people imitate this. But like, you showed me
specifically like Law Dispute, like that vocal styling, I think comes directly from this.
And that's
Listener out of Kansas City. Have you ever listened to them?
No.
Oh, they're great. Yeah.
I feel like that you've showed me like the roots of a lot of things that people have been inspired by, at least in the last 10 years. Sunny Day Real Estate. I was like, I've heard a lot of bands do this.
Yeah.
Me Without You, I'm like, I've heard a lot of bands try to do this, like that spoken word thing. And it was never my bag. But when you go back to the root of it all, you're like, okay.
It clicks.
It's like, this is how they took something and made it very original. I think it's good to be inspired by whatever it is. But, like, I feel like this is something that's so unmistakably Me Without You is the vocal style that, like, you can tell when somebody's really into Me Without You.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. Which is interesting because before they were Me Without You, they had a different band. What was the name of that? All the fans are The Operation. All the fans are mad. But he started out as the drummer.
Oh.
Aaron was the drummer. He didn't sing.
Wow.
And then they just like put him up and
like, hey, here's 2 microphones.
And he's like such a good performer too. They did you see anything with them with Flowers?
No.
So they do this thing. They did it on their final tour too, where they were like, okay, so you go to a show and you can see the band playing, you can hear the music, you can feel the music, but we want them to be able to smell something. So they just have flowers all over the stage, and he like throws them out in the audience and jumps around. Yeah, it's just,
have you ever caught a flower?
No, I've never caught a flower. I wasn't really going for him though. It's like,
how many times have you seen them live?
5 or 6. I think.
Holy shit! They're your Red Hot Chili Peppers.
They are. They're probably the band I've seen the most.
Yeah.
Intentionally, anyway.
Right.
I've seen
intentionally.
I've seen a few bands unintentionally, like a bunch of times, like Skillet. I've seen Skillet like a bunch of times, and I never wanted to see them. But
oh, that's fucking rad. Skillet.
Yeah.
I need to see Skillet. I think they're. Hold on. I think I looked this up, and they're like on a break right now.
That's fine.
Skillet band. We got to double check. I could
band.
be wrong. Oh, yeah, because that's like... I don't even know if that's the same scene, though. And they're like Christian-based, I guess. But
yeah, they're very... And that's where I'd see them, because they like bands like that would come through Western Kansas because there's a huge fan base there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, oh, there's a show in Dodge City. You want to drive an hour to go see it? And I'd be like, yeah,
got nothing else to do.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, they're still a band.
So, okay, you said... that Rainbow Signs was your top 3. Blue Hen was your first. What was your other one in the top 3?
I'd say Watermelon Ascot.
Watermelon Ascot.
And then Lilac Queen is probably number 4.
Lilac Queen. What do you think about D minor?
It's a good song too.
I think that's another one that stood out to me more this listen through.
Yeah. And again, the way that they flowed all these songs is just like... Yeah. Like, they did a good job flowing these together.
Yes.
There was
definitely.
a chord right here in this song. Right there. Like, that just totally threw me off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, these headphones suck.
Oh, yeah, dude, they're horrible headphones.
They're terrible headphones.
They're so bassy, aren't they?
It sounds like a McDonald's drive-thru. So another thing, like with that song, they in a lot of their albums, whenever they write God, they use this. It's a tradition within certain groups. I don't entirely know who it is that does this. This isn't a religion podcast though, so I don't need to know. Yeah. But they don't spell the word God, and it comes from like this ancient belief that like you don't say the actual name of God out of reverence.
Oh.
So it's G-D in the lyric books a lot of times.
Whoa.
And this is one where they didn't always do that, and it's what the part that's this is not the first time God has died, which is a play on the Nietzsche quote. But then it goes into this is not the first time capitalized 3-letter sound has died, which is at the same time showing that reverence, but also like kind of pointing out that they're showing that reverence, which is interesting. Like it's like, yes, this is just a sound that we're making, but also it's this weird like balance they're striking within the themes of that. I don't know. Huh. I this album we could go like song by song and discuss the meanings of the lyrics, and we don't have time for that.
Yeah, I think overall. So we never. Okay, let's figure out a ranking system.
Ranking.
Not coffee types because Chayne doesn't like that.
Dude,
he can't do it.
Don't get me started.
Don't go light, medium, dark roast. He doesn't like it. Noted. What if we did what's a good ranking system? I mean, we could go simple. I would recommend.
I'm gonna give this
what
album by Nick Cave and Bad Seeds. I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10 numbers.
8 out of 10 numbers?
I don't know. Does that make sense?
Let's go out of 10. Yeah.
Like it's not a star. Like what does a star mean? Star doesn't mean anything.
No. Numbers don't technically mean anything.
How many stars in the sky? That is 10. That's not much.
Yeah. So 8 out of 10.
I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
All right.
At an 8 out of 10, just sounds.
Me Without You, Pale Horses. I'm gonna give it 9.5 out of 10. I really love this album. I really love this album.
I am so excited to show you more Me Without You albums.
Man,
I want to. I don't care what we said at the start of the show. I'm gonna put more in. Like it's gonna happen.
We're like, yeah, just like one album. Well, I feel the same way about Nick Cave because I'm like, now that I know
and his
more,
stuff is so different. Same with Me Without You. Like, if you look at their albums, like this one sounds so much different than It's All Crazy, It's All False.
Yeah, because
It's all a dream, it's all right, which sounds almost like they sound almost like songs for kids, but they're also like as deep as these are.
Yeah. I really wondered because they announced they were breaking up at the end of 2019.
Yes.
And then the pandemic happened. Obviously, in 2020. And they're like, we're breaking up in 2020. And then 2020 happened.
So they had their whole tour planned for their final tour, and it got destroyed by COVID.
Yeah.
And they put out things when they canceled it. They said, nature had another plan, which is lyrics from this album. So,
that's fun.
Yeah. And I had tickets for that, and I was devastated.
Oh, yeah. You're like,
that I didn't get to see him. So.
Well, my thing was, I was really surprised they did not record one more album because they haven't released an album since 2018. I was like, I thought they would have done one more album and then called it or something, especially with the pandemic. Man. A lot of bands were like, let's just record a bunch of shit.
Yeah. If we listen to Untitled for this show, I think you'll understand why. I think it's a perfect ending to the band.
They were like, we have a good batch of material here. Yeah. Let's not fuck it up.
Untitled is just I can't pick a favorite album. I just can't. I try and it just doesn't work. But I think that is it fully encapsulates everything they've done.
Okay.
in a lot of ways.
All right. I'll have to listen to that one maybe when you recommend it. I kind of want to go back to Brother Sister.
You should go back to Brother Sister.
I do.
Save the other ones.
Yeah.
We need content. So.
Yeah, we need content. Don't listen to... Yeah, I know if I did a Nick Cave album, it'd probably be Murder Ballads. I think you would like that one.
I think I'd be into it.
Whenever that comes up.
I love stories. That's some of my favorite. I just love a good story. Yeah. So, my last listened to song on Spotify on my laptop was Eye to Eye from the Goofy movie soundtrack.
Why were you listening to that?
Because remember I said that Prince reminded me of that.
Yeah. Prince. That was... I don't know. Okay, episode 4, that was a wild one.
That was a weird one.
That was a weird
Thanks
episode.
for sticking through that one if you did.
Episode 5.
Or if you skipped it, that's okay.
That's understandable. Okay. So let's go into episode 6, recommendations here.
Sure. All right, so I think we're going to do a random draw for this one.
That's right.
Let me get my Discogs up. I just typed dick without a K into Google on accident. All right, so I think we're just going to do a random draw. So should I just grab?
You can just grab whatever I'm out of there if we haven't done it yet.
Okay, I'm in the section. Early.
That's a local band. I wouldn't do that one.
Okay, don't do that one. How about this one?
Oh, you fucking hate this band.
I don't hate Rush.
You don't hate Rush? I thought you
don't
hated
hate Rush.
It's Connor that hates Rush.
Connor hates Rush.
Connor hates Rush.
I kind of like Rush.
So this album...
Oh, look, another nude person.
It is. It is a live album.
Okay.
Do we want to go down that hole?
Is it good? Is it worth listening to?
It's good. I mean, it's a widely known record from Rush, I'd say, but it's like hits from all their stuff. I don't know if we want to go down that. Maybe we should do something else.
Let's do something else.
We should do a live album episode, though, because live albums are... Nobody does them anymore.
No.
And I wish Me Without You has one from AB. They did a live album. I figured out.
I don't know if that was...
I don't know if it was like
an
released
official
anywhere.
release, yeah.
But I seen that they had AB live. 15th anniversary, I think. At least I thought I seen that today when I was looking up shit.
I don't know. I've never heard that, so...
Hold on, let me look.
It might have been like a bootleg or something.
A to B live. It's a concert documentary on YouTube.
Oh,
That's
it's a
what I'm thinking
documentary. Okay.
Came out in 2021.
I think I've watched some of that.
Yeah. Okay, let's do another random draw.
How about this one?
Oh, the front one?
This is a best of Blondie.
No, let's not do that one.
Best of?
Why are we doing...
I don't know. I keep picking the worst things.
Pick more up from the front there.
Up from this way?
Around that area.
How about this one?
Oh!
Chris Cornell, Higher Truth.
I fucking love that album.
This looks like some of the Lord of the Rings modern covers.
That's all it sounds like is Lord of the Rings.
Really?
I think that would be a good pick.
Okay.
So that's Chris Cornell's last album he released before he died. So here, let's switch him out.
I know absolutely nothing about Chris Cornell. Oh, this one's
he was at least in Soundgarden.
Yes.
Hold on, let's just
prop it. There we go.
Don't worry about it.
Yes.
Yeah. And I can let you take that vinyl with you and you can listen to it. It has some bonus tracks on it, but it's just like 2. I think they fit on the album too.
Nice.
All right, Chris Cornell, Hard Truth. Did not expect that one out of all the batch.
Just took like 5 draws, which this might take a few draws too, because I've got like my 7 inches and
yeah, that's all right,
and like some weird shit in this Discog.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hit random item. Do you want to hit the button? I don't know if it matters.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, I'm gonna hit the button.
I'll put a fake button. I just hit it.
You know this one. I got Out of Step on Minor Threat.
I don't think I've ever actually listened.
You haven't listened to Out of Step yet?
No.
That's my favorite album by them.
Okay. You want to do that one?
Okay, yeah, we can do that one. That's going to be an easy listen to because I feel like that's really short.
Do you want to do something else?
It's 21 minutes long.
Okay, let's not.
But it's good. It's also like...
Is it that's not even considered a full length. Full length has to be at least 30 minutes.
But it is 9 songs.
I don't know how well...
You want to hit the button again? I really like that album, but...
Let's hit the button.
Let's hit the button again.
We'll do another episode.
Boop. Oh, interesting. This is pretty similar to what we just did. So this is Law Dispute, Rooms of the House.
Oh.
You haven't listened to Law Dispute much, have you?
Never.
Okay.
I know they played here. I think they played ICT Fest back in late 2000s, early 2010s, I think.
Yeah, I think it was before I lived here.
Yeah.
I saw them play 1.5 songs at a show because I got off work and ran right over there.
Oh, man.
Here in town. And then I caught them in Lawrence one time too.
Wow.
But that's a really good album. That's my favorite one.
You know what? I think it's kind of cool because you talked about how they take a lot of inspiration from Me Without You.
Yes.
So what was the album name again?
Rooms of the House.
Rooms of the House.
Yes.
And I got that on there.
I kind of feel like I'm picking things that are like too similar. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
This one's totally fucked from this episode and the episode before.
Yeah. Completely different.
I love that album.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine.
I mean, sure, we can go for it.
We're playing the stuff I like, so maybe I just have a very narrow genre that I like. But
yeah, so those are our picks.
That is technically an EP. We should do an EP episode, and I'll make you listen to Out of Step by Minor Threat.
Okay, EP episode. I like that.
So they didn't release a full length, I guess, is what that means.
A lot of bands were releasing EPs because they're just quick to get out.
Because even like the one that they're known for is First 2 7 inches.
Oh, yeah. Well,
which I think might have Out of Step on it. I don't know. But
there's our picks.
Those are our picks.
Another kind of weird one, I think. All right,
Yeah.
So Chris Cornell.
This show's going to get weird.
This show, it just honestly has been getting weirder. Chris Cornell, Higher Truth is the next pick for Chayne from me. And then from a random pick for episode 6, Random Pick Your Nose.
Random Pick Your Nose.
And then Chayne did A Law Dispute.
Rooms of the House.
And that's right. So we'll see you on episode 6. Let us know what you thought of this episode. If you listened to any of these albums.
Yeah, let us know what you think of the albums. Let us know how disappointed you are in me talking about Me Without You and not mentioning something, because I know how you fans are.
Yeah.
They're very nice is normally how they are. But
Nick Cave fans are pretty nice too.
I could see that.
They're pretty nice. They're very respectful.
Nice.
Yeah, they're diehard. I feel like Me Without You fans are kind of in the same, like, people who are in them are really fucking into that band.
Dude. Yeah, seeing Me Without You live, like the first time I saw them, like it's a band that like a lot of people hear, they don't get into, and then eventually it might click, but if it doesn't click, people don't understand it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get a single person in Wichita to go to Lawrence to see them with me. I was offering to pay for people's tickets, and they just wouldn't go.
Wow.
And so I went alone, and that was the best time I saw them. I think it was it was the first time, so that might be part of it.
Yeah.
But I was like very near the front, and just like it seemed like the whole room around me, everybody knew like every word to every song.
Oh, I love that shit.
And everybody was like really like, they were getting into it, but in a very like positive way. Like there was a lot of movement in the crowd, but there's no violence. It was weird. It was a weird pit.
It's a weird.
It was.
I like
really
how that's
weird
a weird pit.
Yeah,
like
weird
people
pit.
Are treating people.
People
nice.
aren't punching each other in the teeth. Yeah.
No crowd killing at a Me Without You show.
No. Well, I did push Connor into a pit at their next show that I went to, which was at the Bottleneck. That shows how different it was. Which that one had like a pretty good bit going, because they played a lot of the earlier stuff that's heavier, and I remember Connor was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to mosh," and I just shoved him in.
Like we talk about Connor a lot on this show.
I love Connor.
We need to get Connor on the show sometime.
Oh, he'd love to.
He would love to.
So, yeah.
All right. Those are our picks.
Those are our picks. We need to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening, guys. Check us out on all the bullshit social media. Earswap Pod. Let us know what you think of the records. We'd love to hear your opinions on them. Just go ahead and drop comments on there.
Yeah, if you have like video theme ideas, like shoot them at us.
Subscribe to our YouTube.
That's right.
Rate our podcasts.
Yeah, share it, show it. If you're into it, let us know. And we'll see you next week on episode 6.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay.
Oh, the handle on this cup is also a mustache.
Yeah, isn't that fun? See the thing on the side says it's you can flip it. And you have
let
your
me
own.
do that. Yeah. Oh, I meant to bring those Halo books over for Talon.
He doesn't deserve them.
He claimed them. Yep. I just realized there's a naked person on the cover of this album.
Really? Present it out
Do
here.
something real cool. Are you recording a video right now?
Yeah.
Okay, just change the album now.
2 episodes ago, I forgot what the fuck we talked about.
Yeah,
so
I don't
I'm gonna
remember a
edit.
single thing I say on this show.
No, neither do I.
Hopefully it's
black
not
out.
too bad.
So far, we've been all right.
Yeah,